Hey everybody, and Tony here with a review of the concert version of Bizet's Carmen, live from the Verbier Festival in Switzerland, which I saw on Medici TV, and the link to the concert is provided on the description box below, so please check it out if you have the time. The conductor was Charles Dutoit. The chorus master of the Master Voices Chorus was Ted Sperling. The chorus master of the Chœur Cantiamo de l'École de Haut Valais was Hans-Rudi Kempfer, and the filmographer was Anaïs Spirot. I was mainly looking forward to this live stream because of the four principal players of Kate Aldrich, Dmitri Popoff, Laurent Norrie, and Sylvia Schwartz. When I saw that this was a concert version of this favorite opera of mine, I was rather skeptical. And after watching it in its entirety, I have to say, good on the effort for the people behind this concert, and good on the effort from everyone, but please give me a full-on opera production complete with the costumes, complete with sceneries, complete with all the scenery changes, complete with all the choreography, complete with everything. Because in my opinion, just having a concert version of this particular opera doesn't really work, as the performers seem to mostly rely on trying to underplay their parts, and they feel like they don't really have a hell load of freedom on stage to really be physical, and it just kind of downplays a lot of things of what is a very searing drama. So overall, as I said before, good on the effort, but I would have loved to have a full-on opera production. Now that rambling is out of the way, let's get on to what I thought about the singers, starting off with Kate Aldrich as Carmen. She has been the top-flight singer who has specialized in this role, aside from the likes of Ebestignani, Giulietta Simeonato, Rosé Stevens, Suzanne Jouyol, Gloria Lane, Shirley Verrett, Grace Bumbry, Elena Obraztsova, Olga Borodina, and what we have today with the likes of Anita Rakvelishvili being one of the new generations of Carmens. With Kate Aldrich, what more can I say about this wonderful mezzo as Carmen? She continues to give the goods in this title role, as she has always been for the past years she's been singing Carmen. She has a very magnetic stage presence. Her singing is very focused and clean, and she really had the audience eating out of the palm of her hand, which she has been doing as Carmen for many, many years. Which is no surprise because I also saw her in Zurich 2 years ago, and I thought she did absolutely fabulously. I also saw her in the same role about a year ago when she did this in France alongside Jonas Kaufmann, and I also thought she did very wonderfully. She still continues to give the goods in the title role. She continues to be as phenomenal as she was for all these years, and she was absolutely the star, as she should be in this Carmen. So kudos to you, Madame Aldrich, for continuing to give the goods as one of the most iconic heroines of all time. Then we go to Dmitri Popoff as Don José, who has a very gorgeous and very stentorian voice, which he loves to use, and he can be very lyrical from time to time, which is no surprise because he also specializes in a huge array of lyrical tenor roles and some of the spinto tenor repertoire. He started out really young back in 2003, being only about 23 years old, and now he has basically conquered a lot of the European opera houses and even some of the American opera houses, and also his native Russia. He has a very gorgeous voice, and I really love his rendition of La Fleur que tu m'avais jetée, and he is very handsome on stage. This is definitely my ideal Don José, in my opinion. Oh, sure, there are a lot of other ideal Don Josés, like John Vickers, Mario del Monaco, Ramon Vinay, Plácido Domingo, José Carreras, and Neil Shikoff, just to name a few. But I thought that with Dmitri Popoff, he is totally on par with a lot of my favorite Don Josés, helped by a very youthful appearance and helped by a voice that is so gorgeous. Whether he sings very lyrically or dramatically, he really has a magnificent technique, and he was an absolute hero in this role. He had a very fine and sturdy stage presence while being very youthful and being very fine all throughout. What more can I say about this young gentleman who specializes in a lot of the spinto tenor roles? He was absolutely wonderful, and I really hope to hear more of him in the near future. Then we go to Escamilla, sung by the veteran bass baritone Laurent Norrie. I really love the color of his voice, just the way I love Escamillo to sound like. He should be dark, kind of rough sounding, yet very virile. And he definitely had it all. However, I seem to notice in his voice that he is starting to show signs of aging, which is no surprise because Monsieur Norrie has been singing for many, many years in a lot of the bass baritone and basso repertoire, yet also some of the lower baritone roles. So you could really tell that this guy has been singing for many, many years, and it does take a toll on his voice, but I really have to give him credit for being a very phenomenal actor on stage and using what little he had, even though it's a concert version, and his voice still has that ebullience and has that really lovely, rich, and round timbre, which I love in any bass baritone doing Escamillo. And he just has a very sturdy and really strong presence on stage, even though he can be rather deadpan and quite minimalist in this approach. But still, his vocal resources were very fine, even though he does show a little bit of aging in his voice. With Sylvia Schwartz as Michaela, she has a very gorgeous voice, but I do seem to notice a little bit of those forced notes and push notes that she gives off. But despite some of those shortcomings that she has musically, she still has a very gorgeous voice. She still has a very lovely stage presence. And her Je dis que ne rien m'épouvante was absolutely gorgeously sung. And her duet with Dmitri Popoff as the Don José was really wonderfully sung. And she was a very fine musician and looked absolutely gorgeous on stage. Then we go to Tunega, sung by the young bosso, David Shipley, and oh my word, what a voice. It's round, it's rich, it's cavernous, it's my ideal basso cantante role, and he fits it perfectly. And for someone as young as Mr. Shipley, he really had a very strong and mature stage presence that is so hard to take my eyes off of him because of that really round and rich, cavernous basso cantante voice, which he manages to emit with such style and elegance. This is a singer I would really love to see more in the near future, and I personally hope that he comes to Berlin singing in all of the big opera houses, whether it be the Deutsche Oper, Staatsoper im Staatstheater, or Komische Oper. This is a guy I would love to look out for in every single occasion. Now we go to Morales, sung by Jean-Luc Balestra, who has a gorgeous lyric dramatic baritone voice and a very awesome future ahead of him. This guy has a very dashing stage presence, helped with a voice that is so well emitted and absolutely gorgeous throughout all the registers and quite expressive as well. Then we go to Mercedes, sung by Julie Pastoureau, who has a very gorgeous lyric mezzo voice, and she has a very fine and very strong stage presence, and she just sounded very lovely. And can be said with Florie Valiquette's Precita, who has a very sparkling, light soprano voice, which manages to complement well with Julie Pastoureau's more lyric mezzo voice, and they really knew how to play off of each other, and they were absolutely charming as both Mercedes and Precita. Then we go to Danke, sung by the veteran comic baritone Francis Duziak, who has a very gorgeous voice. He almost sounded like a character tenor. Maybe it's me. But he has a very fine, high comic baritone voice, which he uses very well. And he just has a very fine technique and manages to really make the best out of this character role. Same thing can be said of François Piolino's Remendado, who has a very gorgeous, light tenor voice, and his moments with Monsieur Dudziak were absolutely wonderful. So overall, the singing was absolutely phenomenal, and I really have to give my hat off to Kate Aldrich for continuing to really give the goods in her signature role. The conducting done by Monsieur Charles Dutoit was absolutely well done, and the same thing I can say about the chorus. Everyone did fabulously, whether it be the children's chorus or the adults chorus. The children's chorus did sound very angelic, even though they were supposed to be street urchins and they were supposed to sound a little bit rougher and rowdier, but here they sounded very angelic. Nothing wrong there, that's just my opinion. With the adult chorus, they were absolutely phenomenal, and it's all thanks to the masterful skills of one Monsieur Charles Dutoit. So overall, while having a concert version of Bizet's Carmen is not my cup of tea, I have to give my credit to everyone involved, from the singers to the videographer to the conductor to all the chorus members, for really pulling it off to the best of their abilities. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in tomorrow where I review the radio stream of the Bayreuther Festspielhaus's production of The Flying Dutchman by Richard Wagner, known in German as Der Fliegende Holländer. So until then, good night, everybody.